Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Travel Coach Network podcast. It is I, Sahara Rose DeVore, the founder of the Travel Coach Network and the creator and instructor of the Travel Coach Certification Program. Today, I have a very lovely guest. I have Aneta Grabiec. She's an MA, a psychologist, a nutritional therapist, a hormonal wellbeing expert, award-winning author, a public speaker, and has been heard and seen on countless podcasts and in interviews. She speaks 5 languages and has traveled to over 130 countries, while also running international retreats for 10 years. Aneta aims to take people out of their context to exotic, off-the-beat locations to reset their nervous system, reevaluate their life, their purpose, to understand themselves and their relationships. She works with individuals and couples on their emotional and physical well-being and on their fertility. Aneta, thank you so much for joining us on the TCN podcast today.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here, and I'm grateful for being invited.
No, of course. First, before we dive into all of those adventures that you've had and how much you love travel, but first tell us more about yourself, and then where did your passion for travel stem from?
Well, I was born in Poland to a very mixed family of Dutch-Italian roots, and my surname is actually somewhere from Slovenia, Montenegro, Albania. We don't really know because we don't seem to recall any roots in our family from those countries. But I know when I go to this part of the world, which is the Balkans, ex-Yugoslavia, I feel at home there, and people recognize my surname, it's from there. So it's all very interesting. And my passion for travel started when I was actually a preschool kid. We had this small globe somewhere in our house, and I kept asking my mom, what is it? And what is it was South America. I was of certain height, and this was as high I could reach. And I was asking, what is it? What is it? And my mom would tell me, oh, this is where coffee and chocolate comes from. And I literally said then, I will go there. And my mom looked at me, sure you will. Little did she know that 22 years later, I actually went for 18 months to Latin America, Central and South. So I think geography lessons at school and the fact that perhaps not being native English speaker, you need to learn other languages. You want to communicate with others, and through those languages, you develop curiosity for other cultures and countries. And as you know for yourself, the appetite grows once you start traveling. And I guess the first dream is to go maybe to Paris, to Rome, to New York. And then you want to explore some off-beaten track destinations. And I realized for myself, no matter how much I studied, my degrees, my diplomas, my professional successes, which I'm very grateful for, I'm very humble for all the opportunities. And of course, I worked hard for them. But I know personally, I've learned more and I've grown more as a person traveling, because you have to learn so much about yourself. You face all sorts of situations. You meet all sorts of people. You need to expand your mindset within moments. So this is a beautiful lesson of growing, beautiful lesson of understanding, building your resilience, building assertiveness, patience, flexibility, and everything else.
Yeah, so travel really does so much for us, doesn't it? And I can see that in your story as well.
Definitely. And even thinking about it now, you know, we have so much of the words have weight. So we say something and actually we don't realize that we actually living those words in the future. So that's actually also very nice reference to everything in life. That's because I've got so many clients and friends who would say, oh, you're so lucky. I would love to go to whichever destination. I'm asking, what's holding you back? And you realize that people, we tend to create stories in our heads. And those stories are most of the time limiting beliefs. So my biggest passion, apart from doing psychology and helping people with fertility and teaching yoga and traveling myself and practicing the languages I speak, is taking people out of their context, allowing them to gently stretch their comfort zone, because I see them day one on our retreat and they want to hold hands and they are very organized, and they really literally scared to breathe. And then I'm seeing how they nicely open up and what happens to them, the transformation during 7-10 days, and the friendships they built. It's the beautiful thing to witness, and I know it serves them. I know they come back home as different people. I know it improves their relationships with themselves, because when I feel more confident, when I feel more assured of myself, when my self-esteem, self-worth grows, this is how I'm stepping into the relationships with others in my life.
Yeah. So what exactly inspired you to go from a traveler yourself to experience the world to now want to help others use travel as a vessel for deepening their relationships, to learning more about themselves and self-discovery? Was there something in particular that happened, or an aha moment that you had, or was something more gradual?
I think it was actually gradual, my personal travels, and I saw every single time how differently I approached the life that I left at home. So sometimes people say that, oh, you're escaping life. It's not really an escape. Sometimes you really, and I think as a psychologist, it's only healthy to get out of that context, the daily life, get out somewhere else, even speak to different people, even see how different people live, and then come back to your life. Because there's a famous saying, you can't solve the problem with the same mind that created it. So it's, in my case, it always worked. And at the beginning, we're talking probably 20 years ago, I was invited to teach yoga at someone else's hiking weekends. And I thought, what a great combination, because I've noticed hiking, being in nature, which is quite a beaten path, and then practicing yoga, I realized that's a nice combination for people. And I also saw what was happening for them, how rested they would come back home, and how they were sharing their dilemmas, and how they would receive support, advice, solutions to whatever that was for them. And then I was hungry to create something bigger, more meaningful, because sometimes weekend is not enough, because you work Monday, Friday, 9-5 or whatever hours you do, and you leave Saturday morning, you come back Sunday evening. So sometimes, of course, it's better than nothing, but sometimes not enough. So I thought, well, let's explore it further. How about 5 days? How about 7 days? How about 10 days or 2 weeks retreats? And how about going somewhere where I know, because I speak to my clients and friends, and people dream of those destinations like Bali. I'm taking 2 groups to Bali this year. I took retreats to Sri Lanka, to India, to Albania, to Georgia in Europe, totally off beaten track destinations. And I witnessed how people enjoy that, how nice it is to be away from civilization when your phone is not working, when you can't get reception, when you actually need to speak to each other, or maybe be silent and soak in the nature and observe the local life. I can't even express. And I'm sure those of us who traveled, because if you're watching us right now here, you also have itching feet for traveling. So I'm sure you understand what I mean by that.
Yeah. And I heard you say the term transformative experience or transformation often, but that word means something different to every business owner. What does a transformation look like for your clients and your experiences that you provide?
And as you said, it's a very individual experience. So for some people, it could be, I'm not going for all-inclusive week holidays on the beach. I mean, each to its own. That's also a form of rest and form of traveling to another state or form of traveling to another country. And it's all great, because we resting on the side, we promoting well-being, we eating nice exotic foreign cuisine, maybe we hear foreign language, maybe we try something new, maybe we make new friends. So for some people is switching this to something else, as of me going and sleeping in 5 different types of accommodation during 10 days retreat. Maybe for some is joining my winter skiing yoga retreats, where we learn, some people learn to ski, and I've got people over 60 who come and learn how to ski because they've always dreamed of their life. They never had the company, or they never had the courage. And now they know, when average age of that retreat is 40 plus or 50 plus, they feel they are supported in a group of peers, and everyone sometimes we feel like I'm not good enough, right? This imposter syndrome. So when they know everyone is on that very level and will be sharing this experience, it's a beautiful journey of that experience or the transformation. Sometimes it could be in Albania. It was 10, 12 hours trekking daily. So for some people, this is a big thing. So every single adventure is different and attracts different people.
And I know that you're not a travel coach, but you do help people use travel as a vessel for transformation, for change, for personal growth, for self-development, and more. But within your experiences that you provide and these off these beaten path experiences, you obviously believe in the depth that travel can do and the power that it has on us mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, for our personal lives and for our work lives, getting that clarity that we need, maybe that reset. Within your experiences, is there any, do you do any mindset work? Is there any way that you help people use what they're experiencing to implement that into maybe their daily routine when they get back, or to apply it to who they are as a person? Because what I've noticed in the world of travel, and this is where travel coaching came about, is that people take a vacation or they go on a trip or they go on a retreat and everything stays within that experience. It's great. They're learning, they're growing. A lot of times it's not aware that they're growing or changing, or when they come back from that trip, everything goes back to the same. They're the same person, the same lifestyle, the same routine, the same mindset, same everything. But as we know, as avid travelers and passionate travel business owners, travel has that power to transform us and to be a powerful tool in our lives. Is there anything within your experiences of how you help people dive deeper into like what these experiences can actually do for them?
I hope I do. Therefore, I'm not a travel agent. I run retreats, and those retreats are for a very small group of people. And very often there is a recruitment process where people apply. And once I have an idea of the team and experience of a given destination, I also use, because I'm a mindfulness facilitator and psychologist, I use that team, or whichever team it is, for people to experience and for people to transform. And the team is often put out either to my clients or social media. So those who are coming, they know what's going to happen. And we work on it daily. So it's either let it be gratitude practice, let it be we working on certain relationships, we working on mindset growth. So I run mini workshop sessions. Sometimes it's literally we are on the beach, or we're sitting by the fire, or we're sharing a glass of wine and we're having a discussion. And then when we come back home, we still have WhatsApp group. And on that group, we still mention, just to motivate everyone. So we mention what happened on day 2, how are you implementing into your life? So it's a very nice reference. And then very often, I like a year after the retreat, send another message to the group and just remind them. And people do bring some questions. I am available for them then. They ask some questions. We've got a nice Q&A, and I can see people have grown. People don't want to be where they started. So I guess that's also the crowd that my retreats attract.
Yeah, I love that. It's really important, because otherwise it's a big disservice to go on a holiday or vacation or a trip or a retreat and to not be aware of just how impactful that experience can be on your overall life, not just the time that you're there. I noticed that you say that travel can help people reset their nervous system. Can you share more about what that means?
Yes, so I don't know if you've ever done backpacking in your life. Probably you have. And very often when you're not prepared for backpacking, it can reset your nervous system in a wrong direction. If you're not open, if you're not ready to accept life for what it is, or if something didn't go the way you wanted it. But so I like to take care of the logistics for my clients, so they don't have to worry about admin organization, but they've got more time to literally be. So very often I encourage, or I even offer digital detox retreats as well. When there is no mobile phones, no laptops, there is maybe a 1 phone call daily to the family, and just ask them to be, or we do some charity work, or we do cooking lessons, or we do gardening in Sri Lanka, or some other places, but just so people know that we're working on it's to experience something different. They may not know how, and they may not be aware of the instructions, but they come open to that.
Yeah, that's very important. And then you have a book that is all about being good enough. Can you share about that book and what it's about and what inspired you to write it?
How to be good enough, it's the manual to, or practical book to living joyfully, because I've realized myself that I also would struggle in life, and I would always listen to this voice in my head, finding something, oh, you know, you should have done better, you should have be this or that. There was a certain point in life, but I've given about 2 decades of work towards my personal development, and then working with clients on therapies and, you know, psychology sessions. I realize most of us hear that voice. Most of us, maybe 1% of narcissists don't. And I thought it's enough. It's enough, because we're all beautiful and gorgeous and we're divine beings, and we constantly put ourselves down. That means we don't only go for our dreams, but we also won't share our skills with others, because we always hear this inner critic. So actually there is one chapter in this book talking about writing a list of things and destinations you wanted to do, experience, and visit, and just go for it. If it's too hard for you to buy one-way ticket or return ticket and go backpacking without having everything organized, go on something that you feel it's a gentle stretch of your comfort zone. However, you feel that's the adventure. However, that's something different that you've experienced. Because I know for myself and my clients, as soon as you make one step out of your routine, you're unstoppable. You're unstoppable in your professional life, in your personal life. You go for the dreams, you go for the skills that you wanted to pursue and nurture, and it's just life tastes better.
Yeah, I think that is a really good message. Obviously, imposter syndrome is something that many people deal with, whether you are a business owner or you're not. A lot of listeners here are travel business owners, travel coaches, travel agents, retreat leaders, and more. So we question, are we good enough? Are we good enough to be this thought leader in what we want to talk about? Are we good enough to help other people, to coach other people, to plan trips for other people? Am I good enough to show up and spread my message, to share my story? And am I good enough? Am I worthy of going on these trips? Am I worthy of having this lifestyle that I have and that I've created for myself? And these are all things that I know a lot of people have going through their head. So that's really important. I really highly recommend people to check out that book. Where can people learn more about you, follow you, see what books that you have, and follow your journey and your retreats?
My website is a good reference, which is my name, anetagrabiec.com. But also on social media, you can find me on Instagram, Aneta Grabiec_wellness, because there is a team of traveling. And as I said, I'm not a travel agent. It's a small group of people that I take away, and I create unique experience, and I involve local people. That's very important to me, to offer a job to local people and then bring something else to those who come, that experience. They interact with the locals. There's always very good healthy food and balanced way of activities. So that's probably the best way to reach. Yeah, I would say social media or website.
Perfect. I will include all of those links in the show notes. And as we wrap it up here, Aneta, can you share a fun fact about yourself? It doesn't have to be business or travel related if you have one.
A fun fact, maybe actually, well, it's probably, I'm thinking about it now, so it will be travel related. I'm running 2 retreats in Bali. I set up one, but it filled up during 2 days, so I needed to set up another one. And then I've decided to have my midlife crisis. I'm laughing, midlife crisis, because I haven't done backpacking, like proper backpacking, for 18 years now. And I'm going to go backpacking to Vietnam and Cambodia in October. I'm giving myself a month, and all I have is return flights to London on October 20th. And I'm excited about everything else. And I'm literally going backpacking. So it's a big journey. Yeah, maybe fun fact, going midlife and going backpacking. So I'm very excited about it.
Are you going, is this trip going to be after or before your retreats?
After the retreat. So I will be in Bali, and I've realized geographically I'm literally right there in Asia. And I've never done Vietnam. You see, I've been to 133 countries, and I've left Cambodia and Vietnam because I thought, oh, this is, this is so obvious. Everyone goes there. I don't need to go there. I'm like, I really want to go there now. Why not?
Yeah, they're beautiful, beautiful countries. You're going to have an amazing time. And it's a nice afterthought of after your retreats to go and spend time on your own in these destinations. So you're going to have to keep us posted on how your trip goes. And I can definitely relate to that. I haven't backpacked since, well, it hasn't been that long. I think my last time backpacking was about 5 years ago, but I spent a decade backpacking around the globe solo. And that every time I would come back from a trip, I would say, who is that person? How did she do it? And now that it's been 5 years since I've done that, I'm like, do I have it in me? Can I do it again? Am I capable? Like you feel, but I know as soon as I would pack a backpack and book a trip and get to the airport, I'd snap back into that mode. So you're going to have an amazing journey because, travel just brings this new character out of us, especially as solo women travelers, of what we're capable of and, the experiences that we can have. So thank you so much for sharing all of that. And thank you so much for being a guest on the Travel Coach Network podcast today.
Thank you. I'm glad we connected. And you speaking about backpacking, I could see your eyes smiling. So I know you understand that passion, that feeling for that. And I'm still not sure what travel coach is. So before we wrap up, I would be very curious. You tell me what travel coach is.
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of mentioned it before. So travel coaches are not travel agents. Travel coaches are not travel advisors. They don't plan and book trips. What travel coaching is all about is helping people, and you kind of do that in there in your experiences there. You might just not have been aware of it. Travel coaching is helping people use travel as that tool. So using that experience, using that vacation, using that holiday to reach specific goals. So maybe it's time that they are just needing time to self-reflect. Maybe it's time that they need after a divorce or a breakup. When we think of these reasons why people choose to book a trip or to go on a retreat in the first place, travel coaching brings it to the surface of that why they're going and using travel intentionally to help them make those transformations, make those changes in their lives. And travel coaches focus in so many different areas and expertises, just depends on their passions and their interests and their skills. And yeah, so that, in a nutshell, it's what travel coaching is. I love that you asked that question. I know many people come to this podcast to learn more about travel coaching, and we've seen a huge influx of travel coaching over the past several years, especially travel agents becoming travel coaches, meaning them adding this aspect of coaching into how they attract their clients, work with their clients, and provide experiences as well too.
I love what you said and how you said it and what you do, because you not only travel agent mostly covers passion for traveling or a list of destinations. However, you only not have discovered, I saw the passion in your eyes for traveling, but also you understand the meaning behind it, and also understanding each individual, what do they need from the travel, right?
Yeah, travel really does. So I know, what travel did for me when I started backpacking at 22 years old, and what I learned from tens of thousands of conversations with travelers when I was on the road, and why people get into the travel industry and why they're seeking a job in the travel industry. Travel has a lot more depth to it. And travel coaching just really brings that all to the surface and has more meaning to how we can help other people with what we as individuals love so much about travel and understand about travel. But yeah, so thank you so much for asking that question. And thank you again for being a guest.
Just one last thing I forgot to add. When you were talking about imposter syndrome, and that many of your listeners are people in the business of traveling, or coaches or therapists, or I don't know, yoga teachers, or anyone who is willing or trying to organize retreats or trips. And I know coming with imposter syndrome, not being good enough, sometimes there's a question, how do I dare to charge for it? And that's something I teach. I coach. No, coach is not the word that I could use because I'm not a coach. I mentor with my 10 years experience of running retreats, profitable retreats. That's my main income. I've learned all the ropes, and I help others who are just starting, not just with the destination, with the logistics, with organization, with what to think, what to plan, with that experience, and how to charge. So this all makes sense, because some of the people I worked with, yoga teachers, or I don't know, nutritionists, and in their mind, they think they should only cover their flight and the
Right.
hotel or accommodation. They totally forget how much they bring on the table, how much years they spend to gain the experience that they are going to share with others. Or they are going to actually be with their guests for a week. That means you've got a week of salary to be covered. So there's just little nuances people don't understand, and they don't think they can charge for it. Then they don't know how to, I don't want to use the word sell themselves, but how to offer. Because for me, every single retreat is offering to someone. And we're already thinking, oh, but there are so many people offering retreats. No, you only one, you only unique. Don't you worry about the competition. There's nobody who is competing with you. So
Right. Every retreat should be so different depending on who's running it and what experience you're providing. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We always are bringing in different guest experts into the Travel Coach Network and into the Travel Coach Certification Program to teach these skills. Because you're right, those are questions that people get all the time. And a lot of people are interested in, as travel coaches, to run retreats too. So I'll definitely be reaching out to you to be able to see how we can get you in as a guest expert into the Travel Coach Network for our members. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. These are all great pain points that a lot of travel business owners do have, especially in the world of retreats, which is on the rise as we came out of the pandemic here. But wonderful, Aneta. Well, thank you so much for being a guest, and everyone be sure to follow us on Instagram at the Travel Coach Network. Learn more about the Travel Coach Network at thetravelcoachnetwork.com. We look forward to having you in our TCN Global Community on Facebook. You can find the link for that and your free beginner's guide to travel coaching in the show notes, along with all of our guest links that Aneta has mentioned. And if you know anyone who might be interested in travel coaching, please be sure to send them our way to our podcast. We truly appreciate it. And until next time, my fellow wanderers, bye for now.